Hello, my name's Greg, Soul Searching Gaijin. It's me. Today's video, there's not going to be any music performance. I just want to kind of react to all the beautiful comments that I've got over the past few weeks in this amazing music community that I've been able to graciously able to connect with. I'm so thankful for that. And so many things I've learned just in the past 2 weeks. I kind of want to go over that and address some of your comments and common themes that have come up, and just try to give you a little bit more clarity about what's happening and how I even got here. So if you're really not into this, you don't have to watch. It's all good. Please don't waste your time, because I have a feeling I'm going to ramble a little bit. But I do feel that I owe it to the community that I have, newfound community that I've gained, a bunch of subscribers over the past few weeks. And just to help kind of clarify a few things and answer some questions, and hopefully inspire a little bit and correct a few things that I feel I did wrong in that video that actually gained me all the subscribers. Well, first of all, I will say that I almost did not put out that video. I felt very uncomfortable making it. It was titled The Perfect Live Dollis Rig, I believe. And I will be the first to admit that was a bit of a clickbaity title. The reason I made that video was I had a pretty busy week ahead of time and had not prepared any music, and knew that I was going on vacation and would be away for a week. And I did not want to let that much time go by without me staying consistent. Though I have no desire, and it is not my intention on really trying to push the channel to become monetized, or that's not why I started this. This was, I do want to reach an audience, and part of doing that is playing the stupid YouTube game of being consistent and caring about your thumbnails and titles, which is honestly, man, I hate to do that stuff. It takes all the fun out of it, and I really have been avoiding it. And that was the first video that I actually was just like, you know what, let me just see what happens if I kind of play the game a little bit. And I don't regret doing that, because like I said, I've found some really, really nice support from all the new subscribers. The comments that you have given me, I'm a little overwhelmed at so many of them. They're beautiful. I have I think 2 that were kind of snarky, and I wasn't really, though I know social media is known for that, I wasn't mentally prepared for negativity. And it kind of, I don't know, I wasted a little bit of time with that, thinking about it and trying to respond and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you know what, just don't give that any attention. There's always going to be people that don't like you or what you do, or for whatever reason. And that's all good. Everybody's journey is valid. And I have no ill will towards anyone. But I just would ask that try to keep things positive. That's really all I'm trying to do here. So in making that video, one thing, I almost didn't publish it because I felt really awkward and uncomfortable showing my studio and showing what I have without giving, because I knew that it could come across in the wrong way. I know for myself, when I was younger, I struggled with just not being able to afford the gear that I wanted. And I kind of, in some ways, I was always kind of jealous of the people with all this great gear. And I'm like, dude, Of course they can make good music. Look at what they have. It's easy. They press a button and beautiful sounds come out. So I almost didn't publish that video. I felt very uncomfortable about that. But like I said, I'm really glad that I did. But just on that note, I just want to go in a little bit of depth just to kind of, I don't know whether I feel like I need to justify myself or whatever. I just don't think I did a good job of telling you all where I came from. I think that video may have come across as like, oh look, here's this old skinny white dude with all this gear, and now all of a sudden he wants to go perform live, and look at all the shit that he's got to do it. Oh my God, of course he's gonna do good. Well, even though I never really had the confidence, honestly, to pursue my own personal music and put it out there, I have been involved, I've been writing music since I was 18, well actually 17, tell you the truth. And I started on 4-track cassette. I went from 4-track cassette to 8-track reel-to-reel to the first 8-track digital hard disk recorder. I got into the studio business all on my own, and was using ADATs, ADAT tapes. I had 2 of them in sync, giving me 16 tracks. And then I moved on to the computer once the computers got powerful enough to handle the type of recording that I was doing. And I've been in the game a long time. I just never made it the sole focus of my life, nor gave it the attention that it deserved. I kind of went the safe route in life and let my day job become my #1 priority, and don't have regrets with that because I learned a lot along the way, and that was one of the big reasons that allowed me to be in the position that I am today. But I did sacrifice a huge part of my life not doing 100% what I wanted to do. During that time, I had a recording studio. I worked like 20, 25 hours a week while I had a full-time, high-intensive job under a lot of stress. And I worked my ass off. Honestly, I worked really hard. And all the money that I ever made for my studio, I put right back into my music equipment, which it allowed me over the years to constantly upgrade and eventually get to what you see today. Also, I've done so much music over my life. I've been commissioned to do music for not many, but quite a few modern dance companies, one of which I worked with for over 10 years that toured internationally. So I'm very blessed to have my music have traveled around the world, which is great. I've done scoring for independent films. I've done commercial work, all kinds of stuff. I've done sound design for films, like Foley type stuff. I mean, I'm a very good audio engineer, all self-taught, and kind of self-made as far as the music thing goes. So everything you see here, I worked really, really hard for, and I'm really not ashamed of it. But I will say this is a very important part, which I don't want to skip over. I can see how that discouraged quite a few people, and maybe not even discouraged, but I saw some things in the comments, and it was kind of a reoccurring theme, all incredibly respectful comments, and I thank you for that. And I just want to respond to say that you don't need any of this shit. This is a luxury. This is a little bit of an addiction of mine. I am a gearhead, and I do get incredibly inspired by different pieces of gear. And if you were to look at my iTunes with my library of all the music that I have written, it's over 48 hours of original music that I've done since I've been putting the stuff in the computer. I have always been very prolific. I just never really had the confidence to share with others. It was just a very personal thing for me. And I do go all over the place. I make music in all different types of genres. It's pretty much, music has been my therapy, and when I sit down to create, I kind of treat it as like, it's almost like prayer in a way. It's, you just kind of get into a flow and you just let whatever's inside come out. And it will, that's what it's been for me. And it's been so personal that I just kind of protected myself and did not want to share it with people. And I'm at a point in my life where I feel compelled, if for no other reason than to overcome those fears that held me back for so long. And really just, it's a God-given talent, man. I should share it with the world. Sorry, I get a little emotional. So, yes, you don't need all this shit. You can do beautiful, beautiful music with the smallest of gear. These days, Behringer makes amazing things, and they're very cheap. I mean, you can spend maybe 200, 250 bucks and get like a clone of a classic Moog synthesizer. It's going to cost you like 10 times more. 90% of the people are never going to be able to hear the difference. I did some of my best music, honestly, with a couple Korg Volcas, a Korg Volca FM and a Korg Volca drum. Amazing little machines. I had a BeatStep Pro and a tiny little Zoom multi-effects stomp box, which is, you can get them used for like $100 now. And what I was able to create with that was amazing and very inspiring. I just have the luxury of having acquired and understanding this equipment and knowing it pretty intimately. Some pieces are new, but like I said, I'm very quick to pick up on this stuff. I've been doing it a long time, and I've cycled through a lot of equipment and upgraded a lot in my lifetime. And I've been blessed with actually working in quite a few different recording studios and having access to some top-notch gear. So that really taught me to know what I wanted and why I wanted it, for what specific reason. And all those previous jobs that I was talking about that I was commissioned to make music for, a lot of this equipment was bought specifically for those jobs, because for one, there's always a deadline. You have to be fast. You have to expect rewrites. And you need to operate on the deadline. You have to be able to deliver on time. And having certain pieces of equipment allowed me to operate smoother, faster, with less friction, and meet those deadlines. And at the same time, inspiring me to do my best work for my clients and make them happy. And yeah, because I'll be honest, when you work for somebody else and you have deadlines, it can be very stressful to create music. So the inspiration of a new piece of gear for that particular job, I found was invaluable. And really came because I got paid to do the job. So I was just like, hey, I'm just going to put this money right back into the job, and when it's all over, I have a new piece of gear that will help me in my own music. So all that being said, boom, I think I'm done with that. Next, what I've learned in the past 2 weeks. Of course, I touched on this, the YouTube thing. It is important to look at your thumbnails and titles. Like I said, I hate that, but I would, if you're trying to gain an audience, as much as I'm resistant to it, I think I will try my best to at least be aware of it in the future. But what I learned with this music thing, my perfect live music rig, it was not so perfect, to be completely honest. So when I went away up to Hokkaido for a week, I took a Digitone because it was the easiest piece for me to pull out of my rig. And a couple days, well, pretty much the first day after I got there, I got some pretty distressing news that I'm really not at liberty to talk about, or don't feel comfortable talking about personal issues. But that weighed, and still does, very heavily on my mind, and that affected the music that I created while I was up there. What I did while I was up there was not what I anticipated. I mean, I went up thinking, okay, I'm going to start to lay a foundation for a live set. And I was immediately thinking, well, how can I cater to my audience? And when I went up there, the music that I made was not with that intention. It was literally to get out an emotion that I was feeling. And it was very well received. And once again, I almost didn't publish those videos because I felt pretty insecure about it. Because, you know, kind of like, as you can see and maybe hear in my voice, I was kind of like bearing my soul to you guys. And it's kind of tough being vulnerable. And I don't think a lot of people do that on YouTube. They present a certain side of themselves or how they want to be perceived. And I was never really good at that, man. I'm not much of a bullshitter. And yeah, I just kind of speak from the heart. I ramble a lot, and that's all good. Like I said, if it bothers you, please don't watch. It's all cool. So I realized in that I don't want to cater to other people. I want to do what I feel. I want to express myself. And in doing that, I know I will find my audience. There will be somebody out there that appreciates it, that gets it, that resonates with it. So what I could say to all of you is, yeah, don't compromise. Believe in yourself. Whoa, why is this so emotional? Believe in yourself. Invest in yourself. Have faith in yourself. And do what you love. That's it. Okay, so over here, it changed. I came back and made some changes. I realized that I had geared this whole setup for a more kind of like techno, EDM, I don't know, club type environment. And that's not the type of music I listen to. I have worked with a lot of DJs and created some music like that before in the past. And being a drummer, I'm good with programming rhythms, and I enjoyed some of the first videos I did were kind of in that vein or aiming towards that vein. And what I realized up on that trip was like, dude, I really just want to be true to what's inside. Whatever comes out, let it come out. So yeah, just follow your heart, man. Be true to yourself. Don't be ashamed of who you are, because we're all beautiful inside. We all have something to say. Whoa, why? Sorry, this is kind of embarrassing, completely embarrassing. But it is raw, so, okay, so let me just stick to the details. Once again, let me come over here. I'll try to explain without turning the camera off what I did to the rig. Okay, so yeah, you can still see me. So I took out two pieces over here. I took out an LXR drum machine. I took out the bass line. Both Erica Synths devices, they're amazing, but they are kind of geared towards more electronic EDM type stuff. I simplified my effects chains. I took out the microcosm, which I do love, but I find it's much more useful when I'm doing something on the computer and for sound design, as it does some really cool things, but it's not like I just turn a couple knobs and you're going to get the sound you want. You really have to kind of dive into it to get what you want. So what I did keep was, I have the Zen delay and I have this spectral reverb over here. So now my effects chains, I have one delay, one reverb. They're both very nice units, incredibly happy with them. They're in a much better place where I can tweak them much easier. And that's a godsend. I did have some issues with the Digitech, I will say. Electron, I'm a little disappointed. Though I love your equipment and I know that you will fix this in the future, there is a bug that I found at the hard way. When I came back the first day after my trip, I immediately started on the rig trying to load in a bunch of samples so I could flesh this guy out and really get started. And the transfer app would not work, no matter what I did. I spent 2 to 3 hours messing with it and eventually just did a factory reset and wiped out everything that I had done for the past month. I knew I was going to do it, but if I could get this in a state where I could transfer my files back, it's easy for me to recreate that stuff. And that didn't work. And as I said before, I'm not the manual guy. I don't like them, but I've been diving deep into them because I had to. And I found on an online forum that this is an ongoing problem with this that they haven't fixed yet. So I spent the rest of the day, after about 4 hours, to figure out what the problem was. I spent the second half of the day manually loading in one stupid sample at a time, sampling it, naming it, saving it, going back, pulling the next one. It was a total pain, and I only got a small portion of it in there. So one thing I learned, a little frustrating. So at this point, I love it. I'm still going to be using it, but I don't think I'm going to rely on it as heavily as I was before. It'll still be doing, I love the sequencer. That's rock solid. So I'll still be using it to sequence some stuff on the 404. I have the outputs of this going into the 404, which I'm using, like I said in a few videos back, I'm using to trigger one-shots, some transitions, and mainly I'm using it as a performance effects module. It's amazing for that. I think that's where it really, really shines. And the beautiful part about this is, like, this is give me a problem. This is so easy to transfer files into. I just don't love, we'll see. I'm not very comfortable utilizing this as my main piece yet. I still really like what I can do with this guy over here. Another problem that I had, I hooked my keyboard up, made this little janky stand that slides in and out real easy. I can take it off in a second. I had this triggering my Digitone, which is handling all my melodic and harmonic things. 4 tracks. I realized it doesn't have a lot of polyphony. So as I'm playing, my sequences were just dropping. I was just losing parts, and that is a no-go, something that I do not ever want to have to deal with on stage. And so immediately I had to rethink that. So I will not be using the keyboard to trigger sounds on the Digitone. I love it, but there are going to be sequences that I mangle and tweak manually. But in its place, I did want some sort of keyboard that I could play that has a different sound than that. This is a very, can be harsh and digital, though beautiful, and there's a lot of sound design that you can do with that. I wanted something much more simple and immediate that gave me a completely different vibe, and I found, yes, another gear acquisition. I found a very good deal on a used Miditron, which is basically a remake of Mellotron, and it's amazing. And I'm not trying to sell any gear, please, whatever. You can get an emulation of a Mellotron on an iOS laptop or iOS device, or use a laptop VST plugin or something. All very cheap and affordable. I just prefer a piece of hardware over software. And I don't really like touchscreens that much. But this is nice because I can have 3 different sounds brought up at the same time and mix between them, or just do one sound at a time. And I don't have to worry about loading. Everything that I would need for any particular song, or maybe even a whole set, can be loaded in one patch. I can either mess with it over here to change sounds quickly and easily, or I can even do it over here on the keyboard, which is really, really nice. It has a tone control, which acts as like a filter, if you will. Just really cool. So that's that. And then there's one more piece that I did put in, which is over here. I don't know if you can see it. It's a 1010 black box, which essentially something I've been looking at for quite a long time. It's almost like a mini version of Ableton Live in a tiny, tiny little box, which can be portable, has tons of memory, doesn't have all the bells and whistles of Ableton, but it kind of works the same way. It allows me to do live looping easily and seamlessly from whatever I patch into it. At the moment, it's got this guy patched in directly to it. And so I can basically have I can be in the middle of a performance using this Corg Nano, I don't know if you can see it, maybe I come over here, using the Corg Nano Nano control, which I've had for a really long time. I can map anything in here, almost anything in here, and control this pretty much completely from this little device. So I can use the faders for individual track volumes. I can do filter sweeps on these little guys here. I can trigger pads, stop pads, arm pads, record loops in there. And the way it records is really beautiful. It gives you, when you hit record, it's going to give you one measure before you start to record while everything's playing in sync. And then you just play your part, and once it's done recording, you have you preset how long you want your loops to be. It immediately plays back without a glitch what you just played, and it's very easy, very intuitive, and is going to become very, very helpful in the future for me. Also, it is loaded with a ton of sounds, has a huge amount of memory, and it's got some really beautiful sounds in there. So I think at some point I'm probably going to be sequencing this from one of these two devices over here, the Electron devices, maybe the Digitone, I'm not quite sure. And though I really want to rely more on the Digitect, I'm just a little shy of it now because of the bugs that I found in it. So that's that. That's the new rig, essentially. And to address some comments, yes, it is big. It is excessive. You don't need this much. I really think I could do, with this black box here, just the Digitone and this keyboard, I think I could do a really, really nice set. But honestly, I wanted to build something that I can grow into. I want to do all different types of styles. I'd like to create multiple sets for different, just different, who knows what type of places I'm going to be able to play it. So I want to be a bit versatile, and having it set up like this, it allows me to basically take the skills that I have on my computer and have pretty much the same capabilities here in this rig. I can lift it by myself. It's very doable. It's just on a stand. I don't think I'm going to love dragging it down the street to a gig, but I really don't plan on traveling to other cities, or it's not what I'm hoping to achieve. I would like to just do some small shows just to get in front of some people and exercise that muscle, face my fears, put myself out there, meet some people. Like I said, I'm not like a raver guy. I'm not into that scene, and I don't really want to do those type of gigs. Who knows what's to come, but something is definitely to come from that. So yeah, I got some really good comments. You guys gave me lots of advice on this, and I do agree. I think it is very excessive, but at the same time, I'm okay with that. And if it's a little bit of a burden to take to places, maybe in the future I'll scale down. But at the moment, I really wanted to have something that gives me almost the same possibilities manually as I would have as if I was using my computer. So that being said, I think that's about kind of it, all the things I wanted to touch on. Yeah, so the next video, well, over here, look at the camera. So this next video that I do will be me performing on this. I would have loved to put some music at the end of this, but essentially I had to really rethink this and rework the whole thing and learn a brand new piece of equipment at the same time as responding to probably a couple hundred comments. And I wanted to really put the time and really, yeah, just give back to you what you gave to me and really answer your questions or relate to what you were telling me in the most sincere way possible. So thank you all so much for your love and your support. Sorry for the long video again and the weird little emotional things. I'm sorry, I'm kind of an emo guy and I've been going through some shit, really. But I'm doing really good. I'm staying positive. We're moving forward. It's just that there's a lot under the surface that needs to come out. So I'm really excited to get this hooked up so I can start to unload some of these emotions. And thanks for listening to the past few tracks and all. I mean, that was really nice, the comments you guys gave me. And it really did inspire me to kind of, once again, gain a little more confidence every day and be truer to what I really want to do, you know? And the whole point of this channel, Soul Searching Gaijin, Soul Searching Foreigner, yeah, I'm just kind of looking for my true inner voice and not trying to cater to the outside influences, man. Just speak from my heart and let my own voice shine through, and hopefully that provides value to some people. And if nothing else, it's going to heal me, because that's what music's about. All right, y'all. Love you. Talk to you soon.